now, so hopefully you can hear me. See if anyone's actually going to tune in now. No, thank you. All right, 6 watching. 9. Okay, Ray. Can anyone hear me? Let me know in the comments, please. Can anyone? Yes, good. Oh, God. All right, good, everyone. I'm so sorry about that. I think I know what happened. I think I made it unlisted. So it's my fault, user error. I was blaming technology, but it's human error. So apologies to technology, and apologies for that failure to start with. But we're here now. So welcome to episode 1 of the Aquascaping Community 2021. The reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to do more regular live streams, and yeah, I'm really passionate about aquascaping, and I think one of the lessons I learned from 2020 was that these streams were really useful for a lot of people. So I thought it'd be great to carry it on and try to make it a little bit more regular. I can't guarantee them every week or a certain frequency, but I will do my best to make them weekly, maybe every 2 weeks or so. But obviously, I'll give you guys notice. So thanks for joining. Let's use this as, like I say, a community engagement tool. Let everyone know where you're from in the comments. I'm sure many of you may know each other already, but use it as an opportunity to make new friends, establish new connections, and hopefully together we can build up a really kind of positive community for this beautiful world of aquascaping. Yeah, it's been an interesting previous year. Let's hope for a more positive 2021. I've got some news I want to tell you. I want to talk about a new kind of community kind of building tool and how do I say it? A movement, if you like, on Instagram. I want to talk about that in more detail and talk about a couple of creators. And then finally, we'll go into a Q&A. So the whole stream will last about an hour long. And yeah, let's have some good fun, not too serious, have some fun with each other in the chat as well. And yeah, it's great to see you all. So I'll start off with a couple of kind of announcements. The first one is very exciting. We've got a new shipment of books coming to my home. We have 500 copies literally on their way right now. And these are going to be available on my online store, so georgefarmerstudios.com. And there's a book area where you can fill out your details and you can buy a signed copy of the book. And we do ship worldwide. So if you do, want to buy a signed copy, I can write any message that you like on inside the cover as well. And there's an option, where to fill that out on the website. So if you don't want to go through Amazon or another retailer, if you're happy to pay that little bit more for a signed copy, and obviously with shipping included anywhere in the world, then you can support me by doing that, and I really appreciate that. I do really appreciate everyone that's bought it already. It has sold really well. I'm very pleased with that. I'm very grateful, and I'm really pleased to see that the UK Amazon buyers have got their copies, their copies are starting to come through now, which was great to hear about. So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, everyone that's bought the book, thank you so much. And if you are planning on buying the book, then you can expect copies available very, very soon. What else can we talk about? So it's been a very busy week for me here in the gallery. Some of you may have seen a couple of videos that I've released lately. The discus tank's looking great. We'll talk about that in another video. I'll do a full update video on that. The other tanks are looking really good, especially the paludarium. I did do a video on that recently as well. I do need to rescape my Styroline 125 and my Tropica Aqua Cube. So the idea behind the Styroline 125 is to use this as a kind of turnover tank for frequently rescaped layouts, and I'm going to really try to focus on some more biotope style aquascapes, because I think I'm really passionate about educating and I love learning myself as well. So, you know, biotopes are a really great way to, you know, educate folk, you know, find out about the fish's habitat, choose the right plants if there are any, choose the right hardscape, get the right water chemistry, the right flow patterns, the right food, obviously the right stocking of fish, make sure everything's super compatible, the right temperature. And I'm really excited about learning about that, and I'm really excited about showing you guys what I do, the whole process of how I create that biotape. Everything from researching the actual habitats, you know, maybe even reaching out to experts or people that live near these habitats. So actually getting some genuine information and then trying to create an authentic habitat as I can. And then the idea is to set that up, film it, you know, make good content for YouTube, maybe some magazines and maybe a book in the future, and then move on to the next one. So, you know, hopefully be able to create a new biotape every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the style of biotape. Obviously bearing in mind the fish welfare all the time and making sure that they're rehomed appropriately, etc. You know, I am one for, as I get older, I really appreciate a longer term aquascape, and that's why almost all of the other tanks will be probably kept running in the longer term. So the Awase Starline 85, that's 75 litre, 20 gallon tank, that's been running for over 200 days now, and it's just looking better and better. So I want to kind of keep that running and see how long I can keep that going for. The Discus Aquascape, got no plans to do anything different to this in the future. I'm just going to gradually evolve it, trim it, obviously maintain it, and yeah, just give the fish the best home that I can provide. They're a bit shy at the moment. They're normally really kind of brave when I get near the tank, but they must realise there's something a bit different going on with my hands waving around and stuff. I don't know if you can see them. They're just, most of them are hanging around down there. And then we've got the Paludarium, the Dewar Paludar 30. That just is, I'm really delighted with that. That's looking amazing. And the interesting one is the Malawi cichlid tank, the Highline 175. Now I do have now 3 generations of fish in there. It is overstocked. Even I'm doing huge water changes. It's got a Biomaster 600 on there. So biologically, it's clean enough, but it's just looking really overstocked now. And I want to keep the fish because I've really got a sentimental attachment to them. I've had them since they were, you know, juveniles. I think we're coming on to 2 years now since I set that scape up. So I think I'm just going to get a bigger tank, you know, and do them an even nicer aquascape, hopefully. The other option is to kind of thin out the population, you know, rehome the older fish and then bring up the new generations. But I'm a bit concerned that maybe, you know, there's going to be some kind of inbreeding over the generations. I'm not sure. I need to do a bit more research on that. Let me know if you're a Malawi cichlid keeper in the comments and what you do about overstocking of your tanks. You know, how do you control the populations and what do you do? But yeah, I would actually like to create a bigger aquascape for them at some point. Okay, just making sure everyone's okay in the chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, loads of people I recognise. Shout out to Candy, who's the moderator in the house this evening, and Mark Dorr. Thank you guys, and anyone else, any of my other moderators that were in the house as well. I really appreciate you as always. Apologies for the lighting. I've just realised I've got my grow lights shining on me, so I'm like really purple at the moment. I didn't put my studio lights on today. I thought I'd kind of keep it really relaxed. I wanted to do a real chilled vibe to the stream, but with the first round of technology going completely wrong, it's kind of you know, put me off my stride a little bit. But anyway, we're here now. It's all good. So we talked about the book, we've talked about plans for the gallery, and what else can we talk about? What else is going on in the world? I wanted to talk about building the community. You know, that's really important. One of the things that I really enjoyed last year, especially during like the peak of the pandemic where almost everyone was on lockdown, and I really enjoyed doing the live streams, you know, whether that was with Tropica on the Tropica channel or doing them with other folk or just on my own on Instagram, or obviously with the streams on my own YouTube channel. I really enjoyed that community spirit, and even though we're kind of restricted physically seeing people, we can still connect, obviously, through these platforms. And I think that's a really great thing, and I'm super grateful for that. And, I don't think we should underestimate, the power and the greatness that technology brings us, especially in this world of, when you have to work remotely, if you can. And yeah, but what I'm saying is I really enjoyed those live streams. I really enjoyed that sense of community, meeting new people, developing new friendships, some that I will no doubt be friends with, for many, many years. And, people that have live in Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada, all around Europe, South America, all these folk that I've, developed relationships with. I can't wait to actually meet some of you for real, and I think it's almost, that it's going to be an even greater experience when everyone does finally meet up. Maybe it be a big hobbyist show or consumer show or in a store, in a workshop. I just can't wait for that moment where hopefully, the world is in a more kind of normal place where we can mix more readily. So the reason, like I said, the reason I want to kind of do this stream more regularly is to develop this aquascaping community spirit. And, that we can do that already on Facebook groups. The UCAPS forum, I always recommend going on the UK Aquatic Plant Society forum. There's Instagram live streams and there's all sorts of platforms, etc., that you can build communities. There's physical clubs that people get together, obviously not so much at the moment. But I guess, I'd like to take a bit more of a kind of a central role, if you like, in helping to develop this aquascaping community. And I especially want to do that in terms of focusing on quality. And even if you're a complete beginner, just really focusing on creating content of the best quality that you can. And I don't mean you have to have a fancy camera or, super high-end aquascape. I just mean on really giving some thought behind the content you're creating in kind of telling a good story, making sure the image that you're taking matches the kind of story that you want to tell. And it could be as simple as, a photo of an oxygen bubble coming off a plant. How exciting is that? It's the, one of the fundamental things that are responsible for life on this planet, the creation of oxygen. So, rather than just taking a quick phone snap of this bubble and saying, healthy plants, actually write a little bit, give some thought about, the kind of a bit more depth to the content, and focusing more on, I don't want to sound kind of preachy here, but like I'm preaching, this is what you should do and use social media for. But I just think there's a lot more value in creating content to serve other people, and think about, something that's bigger than yourself. So I don't mind admitting, when I was, a few years ago, I was really focused on the numbers, creating content, and trying to, my motivation wasn't perhaps based on, service of others and going beyond myself. It was more about, how many views can I get for this video? How many likes can I get for this photo on Instagram? And, I think we see a lot of that in certain communities and, in certain areas of the online, in the online world. And what I'd like to do with aquascaping, the aquascaping community in particular, is help to build up these smaller, maybe the smaller creators and the less well-known creators that are creating really, really great content, but they're not potentially getting the attention that they deserve. And it's frustrating sometimes when you see other creators that I would hazard to kind of guess their motivations are based on a kind of a vanity versus, overvalue. They're quite happy to take, certain style photos because they'll get a load of likes, and I would say it's not based on actually trying to create content to inspire or educate. other people. It's almost quite self-serving. And I don't want to talk negatively in this stream, but I really want to focus on the positives. So with that in mind, you know, on Instagram, it's a big platform. I'm very prolific on there. I'm posting usually at least one post and one story a day, often more, especially on the story side. And, you know, I've noticed there's a really beautiful community that's developing under the hashtag Quality Matters. And if you search for Parlour Majestic as well, so hashtag Parlour, which is Parlour, Majestic, as in, you know, majestic king sort of thing, MAJEGSTIC, Parlour Majestic. Check out those hashtags. Check out the @Parlour Majestic Instagram page. It's an anonymous account, I believe, but I'm sure it's going to be some great stuff coming on there in terms of high quality content. And with the Quality Matters kind of movement in mind, I wanted to specifically mention Great Northern Scapes, Spencer, and the Dark Artiste, who's Angie. And these two guys are really kind of taking this leadership role and really doing some great stuff. And it's great to see this community developing, and the smaller creators are getting a platform to, you know, show their stuff through other creators. And it's developing this kind of virtuous cycle of positivity where people are lifting each other up. And it's really great to see. And I'm really privileged to be kind of a small part of that. And yeah, just so keep an eye on that. If you do use Instagram, I know some of you guys don't, you know, you don't have, if you use Instagram, you don't have to be a creator. You can just use it to obviously be inspired, be educated. But yeah, just check out those two accounts. So Great Northern Scapes and the Dark Artiste. I'm sure, I think Mark Dorr, you're one of the mods, mate. You probably know these guys already. So if you want to type in on the comments, maybe that'd be cool. But yeah, check those guys out. And then my idea is in future streams, you know, I'm planning on doing one hopefully every 2 weeks or so. I will feature at least one creator on Instagram and maybe YouTube and maybe even other platforms. So yeah, it's really great, and I just want to spread this positivity and this aquascaping community, because if 2020 taught us anything, it's the fact that we should all kind of stick together, you know, be positive, and you know, no matter what kind of crap's going on in the world, we have one consistent thing that we can enjoy together, and that's aquascaping, and it enriches people's lives. It enriches my life. You know, I love aquascaping so much, and I love trying to get that message across to other folk, because I know that they can enrich their own lives with it as well. And yeah, so I know I'm massively rambling, but I really don't care because I'm just so passionate about it. So that's the idea. That's one of the things that I'm going to repeat through future kind of streams. The other one is a news update. So I've already talked about the book. There's going to be other kind of features coming on my website as well. So georgefarmerstudios.com is my website, and if you didn't know already, if you go on there, you'll see the latest kind of social media activity that I've been doing on Facebook, Instagram. I mean, might not be Facebook, but definitely Instagram, definitely my podcast, Spotify, and definitely YouTube. So in one place you can see my latest stuff. And with that in mind, we are releasing season 2 of the podcast very soon. And season 2 is going to be focused on the aquascaping. So season 1 was almost like an introduction to planted aquariums in terms of the technology, the techniques, the methodologies, and it was quite a step-by-step beginner kind of guide leading you up to the point where you should now be able to aquascape your tank. So if you missed out on season 1, check it out, the George Farmer podcast. Just search for it on any of your podcast players and you'll find it. I think there's 11 episodes altogether. Watch from number 1 all the way through, and then you should get a really big understanding of what we're talking about. It is actually quite a good reflection of the contents of my book, the season 1. I did that deliberately it's quite straightforward. It's quite sequential. It follows a kind of logical pattern from, you know, buying your first tank all the way through to aquascaping it. And that's what kind of season 1 was all about. Season 2 is very much largely going to be focused on, you know, the art of aquascaping. So, you know, hopefully be talking with other aquascapers, like Stephen Chong, for instance, is agreed to be on. He's arguably one of the best scapers in the world. I've known Stephen since I think he was 14 or 15 on really early forum days. We're talking sort of 2003, 2004. And using my kind of network of aquascaping folk in the community, use that opportunity to interview, some really cool people. With that in mind, I am doing a regular series of interviews as well with other scapers on the Awase North America Instagram account. So if you don't follow Awase North America on Instagram, make sure you do, because every couple of weeks or every month I'll be interviewing and doing like a gallery tour with another scaper. So we've already done Cookie Dough Scapes, Dough Mock, who's a very, very skilled aquascaper. And then we've done David Bono as well. And then very soon I'm doing Mike from Aquapros as well. So make sure you tune in for those. And we've got a load of other cool guys coming up soon. So that's the podcasts, interviews on Instagram. And then also on my website, coming soon, there's going to be a feature that enables you, if you want to, you can do a video consultation with me. The Facebook Messenger video, WhatsApp, Zoom, Teams, FaceTime. That's something that the feature's going to be installed on the website. And if you want a one-to-one kind of video consultation with me, troubleshoot your aquarium, you want some aquascaping advice, anything like that, then this is a great opportunity if you want that kind of a one-to-one. We have the technology now. Video calls are super easy to do, and I realised that you can actually get so much great information across in that one-to-one space. In 30 minutes, you can have that super tailored expert. I don't like to use the word expert; sounds a bit thing, but that really kind of experienced transfer of knowledge, a load of that over in half an hour via a video call. So if that's something you're interested in, then just keep an eye on the website and you can book a video call with me. So that's really cool, I think. Okay, I think that is all of the announcements and the kind of template that we're going to follow for future live streams. So yeah, a few announcements, aquascaping news, what's going on in the world, community like lifting tool, feature a smaller creator, and hopefully build them up a bit on the channel. And we normally go into a Q&A, don't we? Let me just check on the chat and make sure everyone's okay. 285 of you watching, that's really cool, thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to see everyone having a good chat amongst themselves. What time are we on now? So we're on 6:30 right now. And let's go into a live Q&A. So just drop your questions in the chat right now and I'll try to answer as many as I can in half an hour. If I find one particular question really interesting and an opportunity to ramble, then I'll do that as well. So if you want to make your question really interesting, then yeah, I'm very happy to use that as an opportunity to do a load of rambling. So okay, so Captive World, John Arnold, how's the crypts doing, George, in that high temperature? They're doing okay. Yeah, they're not doing great, I have to say, but they are not dying. I think most of the melt has finished. Yesterday, I actually took out probably 30 or 40 crypt leaves that were kind of melting back, and I took out loads of Amazon sword leaves that look like they've been eaten. I think they've been eaten by nearite snails, so I've taken all the snails out, or as many snails as I can find. And yeah, another thing is the white eggs were really getting on my nerves because they were just laying all over the glass and it's looking really ugly. So I took all the nearite snails out. I'm pretty sure the 100 or so, I actually bought 125 Amano shrimp. They're going to be more than capable of dealing with any algae. So fingers crossed, that was what was causing the damaged swords, even maybe the damaged crypts. So moving the neorites out. But yeah, I'm seeing new growth on the crypts. Long term, if I don't like the crypts, I'll just take them out, maybe put some smaller Echinodoros in there. There's lots of other species that we can try. I'm trying to keep it on the cooler side of what the discus will tolerate, so 28 degrees Celsius or 82 Fahrenheit. So I'm just looking at them now, and I have had healthier crypts, but then again, it's always, I think, a bit of a compromise, isn't it, between plant health and keeping ideal conditions for discus. Well, loads of questions coming through now, so let me just... What socks are the desired taste today? So, they're quite boring socks today, Mark. Sorry about that. Yeah, these are Christmas socks. My mate Mark, hopefully we're going to get together soon. And I think he's got a PS5 and he's got like the proper sit-in chair with a feedback steering wheel. I've got one as well, but he's got the full and like a 70-inch telly. So yeah, I need to go over and see Mark and play on his driving sim. Okay, next questions. Let's have a look. Jim West. Jim, hi, love the book. Is there a way to change a tank from a sand substrate to no plant tank to a properly aquascape tank? I only have one tank, so I can't move fish while doing it. Is there a safe way to do it? Yeah, I'll talk through the process quickly. So you've only got one tank, you want to rescape it, it's a non-planted tank and you want to make it a planted tank. So first of all, I would empty as much water as I can. That makes netting out the fish really easy. So have a big bucket or some sort of waterproof container, empty as much of the water as you can, put a load of that water in your container, net out the fish, put the fish in your container, put your filter in your heater, maybe put some plants in there just to act as some area for the fish to shelter. That's your plants, that's your fish, safe and sound for a good while you rescape your tank. So you can kind of just rest assured, you can take as long as you like, within reason, scaping your tank and the fish are going to be absolutely fine. So you've got an empty tank, now it's time to scape it. My scaping process is very straightforward. Put your substrate in, ideally a soil substrate in my opinion, if you want to grow rooted plants. Put your hardscape in, nice big bold hardscape, high impact, choose the best hardscape you can. Take loads of time adjusting it and getting the right pieces. Maybe find if you can go shopping in an aquascaping store, which you probably cut anyway. But get a nice hardscape and then plant it really heavily. So you think about your foreground, mid-ground, background plants, make sure all those plants are going to be suited to your conditions. So what I mean by that is, do you have enough light? Do they need CO2 injection? Do they need a good substrate, fertilizers, circulation, all the good stuff? Make sure you're choosing those plants appropriately. And that's it. Yeah, substrate, hardscape, planting. And then hopefully you've watched some of my videos and you'll kind of know the rest from there. So that's what I would do. And then fill the tank up with water. Put the remaining water from your container in the aquarium as well. Put your fish in, keep an eye on them. Make sure that obviously the temperature is equalised, etc. Maybe acclimatise them as well, like you would do when you're getting new fish. And then do large frequent water changes for the first 4 weeks at least, and that will help prevent algae. So there you go, that's how to do it. Jonesy boy, best plants for Mabuna cichlids. I would just say Anubias. I have had, I wouldn't say great results with Anubias in my cichlid tank, but they tolerate the fish nibbling at them. Some do have kind of nibble marks and the edges of the leaves have been nibbled off. There are some with minor holes in, but that's something I'm happy to live with. I know that I can't grow Anubias, in lush and beautiful like you would in a CO2 injection tank, etc. But the Anubias is healthy, it's growing, it's actually producing leaves, there's new leaf growth, and the algae that is on there is manageable. It doesn't look too unsightly. So yeah, that's what I would suggest is Anubias. It's not necessarily biotope correct, but Anubias does come from Africa, so you have a bit of a loose biotope theme, if you like. Okay. Stuart Bishop, best way to clean off a black beard algae without chemicals. So it takes a long time and it's hard work, but you can get rid of BBA just by large, frequent water changes, keeping your filter relatively clean, and focusing on really great plant growth. So, everything that's associated with great plant growth that you need to be doing. If you're using CO2, make sure that's stable. If you're using lots of light, make sure you've got CO2. Make sure circulation is spot on. BBA tends to thrive in either high flow areas or dead spots, so just consider that as well. But yeah, BBA is generally caused by fluctuating CO2 if you've got CO2 injection and or just high organic levels. A lot of the time you'll find it coming from wood because the wood's actually leaching waste, organics into the water. It tends to get attracted to that. It gets attracted to slower growing plants or unhealthy plants as well. But yeah, if you can limit light but still get healthy plant growth, then that will help reduce the risk of BBA as well. But yeah, just keeping on top of the basics, which is large frequent water changes, stopping waste accumulating in the filter too much, stopping waste accumulating in the substrate too much as well. Substrates are often kind of neglected by aquascapers because they're quite tricky to clean. The Turco-based is a popular option. I just like to wave my hands just above the soil surface. It lifts up all the organics, and then you can siphon that away as part of your water change. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Heavenly Media, how challenging has it been to have discus and plant it in the same tank? Yeah, it's been quite challenging. I've had some issues. I had diatoms to start with, and then I've had the plants being nibbled and eaten, and then crypt melts. Initially, the discus was super shy, super skittish, and they're not looking so great right now. I might actually come away from the tank and see if they're going to get a bit braver. Come on then. If I do this, they'll probably think they're going to be fed. No. Oh, you are fussy today, aren't you? A bit camera shy. So the tetras know that food might be coming, but the discus are really shy. That's funny. I've pointed my spotlights onto the tank to face me, so maybe that's causing them a little bit of a... Anyway. Not showing off, are you guys? Never mind. Okay, let's have a go for some more questions then. Sharon, Sharon Furno, can you open an aquascaping shop down south? We only have pets at home for plants. No, sorry, I'm not interested in opening a shop. I've got too many mates that have got good shops, so no, wouldn't want to compete with those guys. I love the new tank, George. I love how the plant fade out the further back it gets. Create a great depth. Thank you so much. How many people come back into the live stream just to talk to Candy? That's great. Jacob Hill, what's the best low light, no CO2 carpeting plant? Probably something like Marsilea coronata is really good. Helianthum tenellum green, Tropica 1-2 grow is really good as well. You can Crypt parva, super slow grower, but it will grow in low light, no CO2. Marsilea hirsuta is very good as well. Liliopsis brasiliensis is another one that will grow without CO2 and is quite slow and steady. But yeah, so there's a few options there. Will carbon in the filter affect plant fertiliser, says Jonesy Boy? Not enough to make any difference, is the easy answer. Alex Blanco, do you still prefer rimless tanks, or are you going to keep going with a rim tank? I still love rimless tanks, I always will do. I will always have a rimless tank in my gallery, in my home. The Tropica Aquacube is rimless, and I've got the Dua Paludarium as well. I actually have another Dua, a tiny little cube, which I'll scape at some point for my wife's desk as well. So I'll always have rimless tanks, always love rimless tanks. I am an ambassador for Awase, so of course I'm going to use their products, and at the moment they are rim tanks. And as you can see, I think they're still a great product. You can create great aquascapes in them. And rimless isn't for everyone. Some folk like to keep fish that potentially jump out. You know, can you imagine these, you know, these fish here at full retail price will cost you about £150, you know, so we have about £1,400 of fish in here, not to mention the welfare aspect. Can you imagine if they all jumped out one night? You'd be absolutely devastated, wouldn't you? You know, more importantly, you know, poor fish. So, you know, rimless, rim tanks always have their pros and their cons, and it's always down to personal circumstance, personal taste, personal choice. You know, I'm very happy to use Awaze's excellent products in my home. I think they look great. I think they're a great addition to the gallery. I actually think the rim look actually suits the kind of design elements that I'm using in here now. You know, we've got framed prints, we've got framed moss art, we've got, and I think the actual rim effect of the tank makes the aquarium look framed as well. You've got the heat, you're maintaining heat, so you're not using as much energy, and you're not getting evaporation either. So I was always really, I have hard water, you know, my TDS is about 450 parts per million. And with rim tanks, especially the warmer the water you have, you know, you get a lot of evaporation, and the harder the water, the more of that white kind of lime scale staining you get. So we don't get that with the rim tank either. So yeah, it is, you know, it is an interesting topic. I did used to keep vast majority rimless. Now the vast majority are rimmed. And, you know, I talked about this in quite some detail on the original step-by-step video of this tank, and also the video featuring the Starline 125 and 85. So if you want to find out a bit more about my, you know, my reasoning behind using lidded tanks, then check out those videos as well. So thank you so much. Ever going to do a shallow tank? Yes, and I have done probably 5 or 6 over the years as well. I do love shallow tanks because you can have, you know, exposed wood, exposed plants coming out the top. So yeah, I will do another shallow tank at some point. Okay, I'm just going to skip forward to, because there's so many questions in the chat. Let's just see if there's any super interesting ones. Okay, this is an interesting one for beginners. Patrock Marius Vlad, hello George. Best way to prepare Redmoor root for not developing white fungus, and if it develops, what do we do? Ask if you've got a new planted tank. So what you can do is soak it for ages beforehand if you've got the time, and then any fungus that builds up during that soaking process, you can just literally scrub off. And the benefit of pre-soaking it is that you know it's going to sink when you scape it, and then when you do fill up with water, you know you're not going to get floating wood. That is always a nightmare. I've had that a few times. So that's the probably number one solution. If you don't have that option and you have to put brand new wood in a brand new scape and fill up with water, then do at least rinse the wood first to rinse off any potential pesticides, etc., or just dust, etc., that might build up on the wood. So give it a good rinse first, put it in your tank, make sure it's weighed down or, you know, appropriately anchored to the base so it doesn't float. Fill up with water, and then if and when you do get the white fungal build-up, good news, it isn't usually toxic, so you can just scrub it off and then siphon that away as part of your regular water change. As simple as that. New Mexico Aquatics. This is my really good friend, Little Bobby. Hopefully we can get together in this year, Little Bobby. I'd love to meet you and your family. Do you propagate Anubias very often? Do you ever split them or mostly leave them alone and let them grow? Yeah, I do split them occasionally. In fact, I split some today. I took out a massive clump from my Awaze Starline 85. It was a clump about this big of Anubias petite. I split it into 3 portions. I put one portion here, one portion up here, and then a small portion here. So yeah, you can propagate it. It is such a slow grower. It is, you know, you don't propagate it very often just because it doesn't grow quick enough. But yeah, that's the way I propagate it. You just split it at the rhizome, and then away you go, mate. So good luck, and thanks for your support. I really appreciate it, mate. Yeah, guys, if you guaranteed want a question answering, just drop me a super chat and it just highlights it in the stream, and then I can definitely get you answered for you. But this isn't I'm not insisting that you do a super chat, but if you do, like I say, guaranteed, I want your question answering. Sergio Pereira, advantages of having two filters in opposite sides, better circulation, more capacity in filter media, or you prefer only working with one? Yeah, I like to use two if I can, usually. I only had one on the Aquascaper 1200, but now I have two on here. And ideally, normally you have them diametrically opposed, each filter, the inlets and outlets. What I mean by that is normally have a filter on the left, filter on the right, and then your outlet on towards the foreground, and then your inlet towards the midground, and then the opposite on the other side, and that creates like a gyre effect. So the water's circulating around the aquarium, hopefully giving you an all-round even circulation pattern, which is really great for distributing that CO2 around the tank. So hopefully that CO2 reaches all plants equally, and then you get the equal opportunity of growth. You don't get any dead spots, and limit the chance of algae, etc. Any super chats yet? Just make sure I don't miss anyone. No. Last of the Corinthians. Ever thought of doing a brackish aquascape? Yes, I did do one years ago. I did a bumblebee goby biotope style for PFK magazine. They commissioned me to do it. I can't remember the name of the other gobies that were in there. There was bumblebee, and they were quite big. They're a bit bigger than the bumblebees. I forget, but it was an aquascape for gobies. It had leaf litter in it, had loads of twigs, and yeah, it was brackish. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. AD Myers, shout out to AD. You can check him out on Instagram as well. He's got a super cool account, and if you're a subscriber to Practical Fish Keeping magazine, or you want to, if you can buy Practical Fish Keeping magazine, then I am actually I am writing a feature on AD's Aquascaper 1500 tank. I did a photo shoot there a good few months ago. In fact, gosh, it must have been, it was a while ago, wasn't it, AD? So I did a really cool photo shoot of AD's beautiful 125 gallon aquascape, absolutely stunning scape. And I'm writing up the feature for that literally tomorrow. So that's going to PFK. So AD, you can expect your tank to be featured in that magazine soon, mate. So AD asks, are you having to siphon the substrate at all in the discus tank, or are the shrimp cleaning it up enough? They're really messy with messy food, and it was hard on the sand. Yeah, what I'm doing, mate, is when I'm doing the water change, I've got my inlet strainer there, kind of hanging over the side, and then I'm waving my hands just above, and I'm siphoning out a lot of the lifted stuff that comes up. But I'm actually finding it's not too bad. The food is very, very messy, but the lemon tetras absolutely get rid of all the leftovers from the actual water column. And then any leftovers that are kind of settle in the soil, the shrimp are eating. Obviously, you've got the shrimp waste and the fish waste as well that needs getting rid of. That's where the kind of waving of the hand comes in. I've got two powerful Oase filters on there, and I'm doing the two large water changes every week. And then I also use a waste organic remover as well. So this is the Fritzyme 360, which is like a sludge removal bacteria. So that hopefully just eats anything that's possibly left over after all of that. The bacteria will help with that as well. So that's the idea in theory. So hopefully we won't get an excess build-up of detritus in the substrate. Oh, we've got a £5 super chat. Thank you so much from Patrock Marius Vlad. Thank you for your answer. Hope you and your family stay safe. Oh, you're very welcome, and likewise. I hope you guys are okay. Mark Dorr, 2021's first pocket money payment. Thank you. Marriott is in the house. Thank you so much. Oh, we've got a few more super chats coming in. Thank you. thoughts. The Mbors asks thoughts on powder substrate like additives like ADA. Yeah, I mean, the more nutrients that you can get in the substrate, the better. Whether you spend a lot of money on the ADA system, or you use root capsules and other products and develop your own kind of substrate mix. Yeah, the more nutrients you get in there, the better. But in my experience, I can get good results with just the tropical aquarium soil or just ADA soil on its own. But the anecdotal evidence suggests, and a lot of the aquascaping, a lot of the proscapers and aquascaping stores, they get really great results with that entire kind of ADA system. So it's up to you. If you can afford it and you've got, disposable income and that's what you want to spend your money, enjoying your hobby on buying fancy products, and there's nothing wrong with that. You'll arguably get marginally improved, superior results, especially in the longer term. So yes, but if you're on a bit more of a stricter budget and you still want to get great results, then you can just stick with that, all-in-one soil kind of solution. This is a good question from Garapi. Are you considering using any more interesting sword types other than the discus have right now? Yeah, I have actually. I wanted to use a classic, a kind of a classic plant selection really, because for me the aquascapers are very much revolved around the fish, and I didn't really want to detract away from that by using some fancier species with colour, etc. So I deliberately went for the classic Amazon sword with its plain green colour, and that contrasts, as you can see, really nicely with the discus. But I have actually planted a brand new. Have I got any here somewhere? Where did I put it? I put it away. I have actually got some super rare tissue culture plants from Tropica. They sent me over as a Christmas gift package. Honestly, I'm going to ramble now, but I got this big box from Tropica, and I didn't expect it. And I opened it up, and it was just full of amazing plants that I'd never seen or heard of, some of them. And I put a lot of them in my paludarium. So the Anubias needle leaf that you may have seen, those that follow me on Instagram will have seen me. I had my lightning cable, my charger cable in the poking the leaf, and people are saying you're trying to charge your plant up. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm digressing. So got some really cool plants, put them in the paludarium. One of the species I got was a tissue culture, and it was Echinodorus aflame, I think it's called, A-F-A-L-M, A-flame. And it's like in a deep red burgundy colour in its tissue culture cup. So I've actually planted some of that in there. I have no idea how tall it will get. I didn't even research it, which is a little bit naughty because it could obviously get huge. I'll just rehome it if I have to. But I do, yeah. So I do have some different kind of swords in there. Yeah, so that's answering that question. This is a good one from Muff. We'll do 5 more minutes, guys, and then I'll say cheerio. Like I said, if you want a guaranteed, oh god, we've got loads of super chats come up. Hang on a second. This is embarrassing. Sorry, guys. Can I expand? I don't need to hide the chat. Okay, let me just. Jacob Hill, here we go. Do they sell those Awase rim tanks in Canada? And what's the best tip for a beginner getting into the hobby? I believe the Awase tanks are coming soon in Canada, but I can't give you any more details than that, I'm afraid. Just reach out to your local Awase dealer or email them potentially. Best tip for a beginner getting into the hobby. I would say try to find a mentor or follow someone with lots of experience and credibility that knows what they're doing and get consistently good results. Follow their kind of methodologies, their kind of ways of working, their maintenance practices. And just by kind of almost mimicking or following their the things that got them successful, you're almost guaranteed to be successful yourself. There is so many different ways to achieve success. So this is why I say try to follow, one person rather than following little bits of advice from loads of other people, because you might get conflicting results. So yeah, find someone that knows what they're talking about. You know, obviously I'm going to sort of promote myself. You know, I believe I come up with some good content, educational content. You know, there's my book, my YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook page, you know, podcasts. You know, there's every information there you should be able to find to get success with an aquarium. You know, I think my content's quite beginner friendly. I don't create super complex aquascapes, and there's a reason for that. You know, I'm not a super high-end aquascaper. That's where I don't get my, you know, my sense of purpose from. I actually prefer to create simpler aquascapes that other folk can replicate and get great results with. You know, I tend to use easier plants, you know, plants that may grow well with that CO2 injection or highlighting. So yeah, I'm basically saying follow me and follow my advice, but if you don't want to do that, there's loads of other great folk out there with really good experience and really good advice to share. On that, I will suggest visiting the UK APS, UCAPS, or the United Kingdom Aquatic Plant Society forum. Loads of really experienced and skilled plant and aquarium hobbyists and enthusiasts and aquascapers on there that are very happy to give you advice as necessary. So thanks for the super chat, Jacob, appreciate it. It looks like it says goon on my t-shirt. Yeah, maybe I'm a bit of a goon. It actually says good. Trying to be positive today. Okay, guys, we'll wrap it up in a minute. So any last minute questions? Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Massive apologies for the first stream that went wrong. I won't go and talk about that anymore. Yeah, so this is the first one of the year, the first of many. I've not done one for ages. I'm a little bit out of my stride. I didn't really prepare for this, but I kind of wanted to keep it more casual, use it as an engagement tool for you guys. So not only can I talk to you, but you can talk to each other. And yeah, let's develop this great aquascaping community. I do recommend using Instagram if you don't already have an Instagram account. You don't have to be a creator on there. You don't have to, you know, make your life public, but you can follow other creators, other people in the aquascaping hobby. And there's a really great community of aquascapers developing on the platform now. You know, consider using the hashtag Quality Matters. And we talked about the two special feature creators today. So at Great Northern Scapes, Spencer, and at the Dark Artiste, which is Angie. Follow those guys, follow the Quality Matters movement, and also follow Parla Majestic. So I'll wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks or so. Do follow me on Instagram. I will always promote, I'll give you a kind of a pre-warning of when these streams will be available on my Instagram. I do have a Facebook page, George Farmer Studios. I do have a podcast. Season 1 is already available. Season 2 coming soon. So follow me there. If you want to support me, you know, even more kind of in a focused way, you can buy my book from my website. So georgefarmerstudios.com, and you'll find the link to buy the book there. And then you can look out in the future soon the opportunity if you want to do a one-to-one video consultation with me as well. So there's that to look forward to as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. I've had good fun despite the stress at the beginning. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have. Like I said, a couple of weeks' time we'll do another one. And stay safe, enjoy your scapes, and no matter what kind of mood you're in, you know, do something with your scape. You know, I found the best kind of remedy when I was feeling a little bit low, getting a bit fed up of the lockdown, etc. I would just focus my energies on my tank maintenance or taking pictures or a video of a tank, and that I found really helped me. Even though I didn't feel I had the energy to, once I got started and I just got into that maintenance, or I just got into taking that photo or video, it just lifted me up and it started me on that positive kind of lift, you know. So, you know, let's use aquascaping for the actual benefits and the joy that it can bring each other. Let's share that joy, and let's keep on scaping. Take care. Cheerio. Still recording, Emma. It's still recording. I'm just showing them a little bit of the tank up close as a treat. People that want to stay a little bit longer. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching. Cheerio, you take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Woo!